Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at 15 different commands that we can work with when we're using a Linux Mint machine. Now I'm going to be showing these commands on the terminal, so let me open the terminal here. Now the commands I'm going to be showing are mostly related to networking. So for instance, if you wanted to show the IP addresses or the interfaces you have, or if you wanted to disable an interface, or if you are troubleshooting DNS, these are some of the commands you can use. So we'll start with the first command. It's going to be the IP command, and I'm going to use -h here. There's quite a few different options like address, a link, and many others. So let's use IP address. And this one shows us the different interfaces we have. We have 3, 1, 2, and 3. So loopback 0, it's got an IP here. We have ENS33. We have an IP. There's the MAC address. Then there's the wireless interface right here, which shows us an IP. We'll move on to the next command. Actually, we can just use this same command and use the link option, which shows us just the MAC addresses. So IP link. And this one is just a condensed version of this command. And all it does is just shows us the interfaces and their MAC addresses. We'll move on to the next command, which also shows us the IP address, the interfaces as well. And this command has other options we can do, like shutting down an interface. So the command is ifconfig. Like I said, it shows us similar information to what we saw with IP address. It's a different display, but the information is the same. The interface name, IP address, interface name, and IP address as well. When we are working with the wireless interfaces, there's a command that's just specific to wireless interfaces. We wanted to see information specific to the wireless interface. So if we were looking to see information that's specific to the wireless interface, we can use the wconfig command, and this shows us information related to the wireless interface. If you are connected to an access point, you'll see the access point here, the MAC address. You see the ESSID, or the name of the wireless access point. Shows you the mode, power, management, and much more information. And with this command, iwconfig, there's parameters, or there's values we can set or change. If I did iwconfig -h, so these are the different values we can change using this command. You can change the channel, the mode, the rate, and many more. Let's change one of them. Let's do iwconfig, and then we'll put the interface name here. So let's copy this, paste it, and then we'll change the channel. We'll say channel, and we'll say 3. So it's not permitting me. Let me use sudo, and let me do that, and we're able to change the channel. Now let's move to the next set of commands. These commands again are related to wireless interface. We can use the commands to shut down a wireless interface. Maybe you're troubleshooting. You can use this to shut down a wireless interface and then to bring it back up if we needed to. So the first command is a rf kill command. By itself, it just shows us the ID, which is 0 for this wireless interface, the type. Then it says under soft we have unlocked, hard, and locked, which means it's not disabled. If we want to disable it, we can just write rf kill, and then we'll do block. Actually, before we run the command, let's just do IP address. And as you can see, its state is up, and we can see the IP. Now, if we do the rf kill command and say block, and we provide the ID, which is 0, press enter, and we run IP address. As you can see here, it says state is down. To bring it back up, we can use the same command. We can say unblock and provide the interface ID. And if we do IP address, now it should come back up. So if I do IP address again, we can see that the state is back up and we have an IP. And actually, one thing I wanted to show is when we run this command right here, and then we run rf kill, it will tell you that it's blocked, soft blocked. So let's go ahead and unblock it. So the command to unblock it, we will say sudo rf kill unblock interface ID 0. And now if I do rf kill again, it shows that it's unblocked and it's connected. The address, it's back up. The other command is the one we looked at, which is the ifconfig command. If I do ifconfig -h and look at the options, you see here one of the options is to use up or down. And we can use it, for instance, we can use it to disable the wireless interface or the wired interface. So we'll use it to disable the wireless interface. So let me clear this. And then I'll do iwconfig to get the name of the wireless interface. And then we'll do sudo ifconfig config, and then I'll provide the name of the interface, which is right here. Copy and paste it. And then here you can say up or down. So say down. And if I did iwconfig again, now I'm not associated to an access point because it's down. And if I did IP address, we'll see that it's down. To bring it back up, we can repeat the command and say up. And it should be back up, state is up. So the next command we'll look at is a simple command for checking reachability of a device by pinging the IP address or the name. So let's say you're trying to determine if a given IP address is reachable, a device or a website. You can use the ping command, and then you can use -c here to specify the number of pings or the ICMP echoes to send. For instance, we can send this 2, and then we can provide like a google.com name of the site. And it shows you 2 packets transmitted or 2 packets sent and 2 packets received. If you don't receive any packets, that means the site or the IP is not reachable. The next set of commands are for DNS, troubleshooting DNS, finding out information that you have configured, if you have any configured at all. We'll begin with the most commonly used, which is the NS lookup command. And so you type NS lookup and then the name of the site, google.com. And this should translate google.com to its IP address, which is right here, and also shows us the IPv6 address, gives you the server, and then it gives you the port 53 for DNS. The next one is dig. We say dig google.com, and it's providing more information. There's this answer section here, which shows us the name and then what it translated to in terms of the IP address. It shows us the server name, the port 53 for DNS, and even the protocol UDP and the time. Finally, we'll show a simpler command here, host google.com, and it translates google.com to its IP address. Okay, we'll move on to 2 commands that we can use to figure out what devices are on our local network. Now we'll start with the app command. What the app command does, it maps IP addresses to their MAC addresses and allows us to see other devices on our local network. So if you type app, you should see devices on your network. Here you have the gateway. We have an IP here, 172.16.1.10, and the associated hardware address or MAC address. So if I ping a device that is on the network, it should be able to show it in here if it's reachable. So let me try to ping 172.16.1.11, for instance. I'll use Control C to end the ping, and if I repeat up, now I'm seeing that it added this IP with its MAC address. The other command to see devices on the network and whether they're reachable is the IP neighbor command. And this one shows us an IP address, the interface via which is reachable. This one is reachable via the wireless interface, its MAC address, and whether it's reachable. So this one is reachable. This one is tail for the .10, and then we have 2 others that are reachable. Now, if I'm able to ping the .10, it should update this here. It should update this and say reachable. So let's repeat the ping command and change this to 10. And let's try the IP neighbor command, and it's still. So now it's showing me that it's reachable. Okay, we'll move on to other commands here. This one's commands we can use to determine what we have configured as the default gateway. Also, we can use some of the commands to trace the path or the number of hops we jump or the number of routers we go through to reach a destination. So let's look at the first command here is IP route show, which shows us the default gateway and also the different networks that we can reach. Now we have two default gateways here. We have this 172.16.1.4 that's reachable via the wired interface ENS33. Then we have this one here 192.168.1.1 that's reachable via the wireless interface. And then we have two networks here. The 172.16.1.0 /24 network is reachable via the ENS33, which is the wired interface, and then this one is reachable via the wireless interface. And now let's look at the trace route command, which shows us the number of hops we jump to get to site. And in this case, it's saying it's not installed, so let's install it. So we use sudo apt install trace route, and now let's repeat the command. As you can see, it goes through our gateways here locally, and then it goes through the internet to a bunch of routers or service providers before it gets to the final destination. So the last command is trace path, which should show us the number of hops also. So it's kind of similar to trace route. This one is timing out, so it's not as reliable as trace route. So trace route is more reliable. So I'm gonna end this one. And that's it. Those are the different commands that are available to us when we are working on Linux Mint and we are looking for information related to the network. And we can also use this to do troubleshooting. So I hope this information has been useful. I'll catch you in my next video. Thanks. Bye.